Invincible's high school is having a graduation party, and the principal is giving a speech, but Invincible is nowhere to be seen. His friends wonder where he is, and if he is going to miss this once-in-a-lifetime event, but his girlfriend Amber said that he promised her he would be there anyway. Meanwhile, Invincible is entangled with another villain. This one is familiar, as it is none other than Darkseid, and he is threatening to destroy the Washington Monument. The doc goes on and on about his very valiant effort to return to Earth what was stolen from it, but Invincible couldn't care less. Seismic attacks Invincible and uses the help of a few lava friends he made after his loss the last time. Invincible manages to defeat the Magmanites thrown at him and take out Seismic once and for all. Invincible makes it back in time for his graduation, and then he goes and celebrates with his friends back at Adam Eve's house as they talk about their different summer plans. Remember that one Martian that snuck on the spaceship with the astronauts that Invincible was guarding back in Season 1? Well, he is back, and his erratic behavior got him on a temporary leave from the Space Administration until he can go to therapy and fix himself. Meanwhile, Adam Eve helps some construction workers fix some buildings. Their boss scolds her for scaring the crew and helping them without their consent, since it might not be up to code. One of the residents that lost their home retorts back and thanks Adam Eve for cutting through the red tape bullshit. Adam Eve surprises them and fixes the recreational space the neighborhood had and was destroyed for years. Everyone is happy, but Eve gets a call from her mom that seems to be concerning. If you're into animation recaps, then Inky Myths will be your go-to for manga recaps, the ultimate hub where your favorite manga and webtoons come alive in thrilling summaries. Whether you're catching up on the latest chapters or revisiting old favorites, we've got you covered. So, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, like, and join us as we uncover the ink-stained tales of adventure and myth. Invincible and his mother have an early morning talk, and she suggests that they go on a beach trip for his summer vacation. Invincible tells her that he can't, and he has responsibilities here. So they argue for some time, and things get heated until Invincible gets a call from Cecil that thankfully takes him away for a while. Meanwhile, the Guardians are just getting back from a hard training session with the Immortal, and everyone is super tired. Splode is specifically infuriated at how tough the training was, and if that wasn't enough for him, he tries to score with Dupli-Kate while changing in the locker rooms, only to find her already having sex with the Immortal. She cusses him out and tells him to mind his own business and leave her alone. We get to see a glimpse into the personal life of the Martian as he struggles with rent, but also has his hopes up of things turning around when he sees a report about the previous Martian being a beloved hero. Back to Invincible. His mission from Cecil is basically to track down someone impersonating Darkwing. All clues lead to a cursed city by the name of Midnight City. Invincible finds the Darkwing impersonator beating up some punk and almost killing him. So Invincible punches Darkwing away and lets the punk go. The impersonator reveals himself to be the previous Darkwing assistant, who has taken on the mantle to continue his work. Cecil tells Invincible that he has lost it, and that he should bring him in. They fight, and Darkwing takes him to the Shadow Dimension in order to trap him, and forces him to bring them back, right before knocking him out as soon as they get out. Meanwhile, Debbie, Invincible's mother, visits Cecil and has a fight with him about the way he has been using her son. Cecil comforts her and promises her that he is looking out for Invincible. Suddenly, Donald shows up, and Debbie is shocked because she remembers seeing Donald get killed by Omni-Man, but Cecil immediately distracts her away from questioning further. Adam Eve goes to visit her parents and realizes they are in a tight financial situation. Even her father is now working at a burger joint. She tries to help them by giving them food and turning an apple into a golden one for them to sell, but her father argues with her about it. Meanwhile, Amber is hard at work volunteering and trying to help a political campaign. So Invincible takes her on a break and flies her to the Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas. They barely sit there for a minute until Cecil calls for Invincible's help, so they postpone their date to dinner. Turns out, Atlantis needs to punish someone for Omni-Man's sins against their king, who was part of the original Guardians, and that falls on his only son. However, the punishment is that he has to marry the queen, so you could imagine how Invincible is feeling very anxious and weird about it, even if it is just supposed to be a custom and nothing more. While that is happening, the Guardians are taking on the Lizard League, and they get help from the Martian, who shapeshifts into Splode to surprise them and reveals himself with a new look and the name Shapesmith. Invincible meets with the Queen, and he tries to tell her that he has a girlfriend and can't marry her even as a custom. She laughs at his face and says she abolished that custom a long time ago. Now it is trial by combat. Atlantis releases a ginormous creature called the Depth Dweller to fight Invincible. They fight, and Cecil checks on Invincible to find him fighting for his life instead of just getting a kiss. He tells him to hold out for a second until he sends backup his way. Suddenly, missiles shoot at the monster and Cecil tells Invincible that this is his cue to run away. What they didn't know was that the missiles would also hit its chains and let it loose on the people of Atlantis. Invincible tells Cecil about this, and Cecil tries to convince him to not care since they were responsible for bringing it in the first place and were cheering on their death. But Invincible wants to prove he is different from his father, and he goes back to help them. He manages to win the fight and save everyone's lives, but Cecil is not pleased and wants him to listen to his orders the next time. Adam Eve, on the other hand, is finally getting a reality check of some kind. She goes back to her house and finds them throwing away her food and golden apple. She tries to sympathize with her father but also argues with him, and he shows her that her help is not needed because she lacks proper guidance. He then shows her how the recreational space she built for Chicago has been destroyed with a dozen or so people injured. Turns out, rules are made for a reason, and the city never built there because the whole lot was unstable. Meanwhile, Debbie is having a mental breakdown. The Guardians show the Shapesmith around their base in an effort to entice him to join. He is so enamored by everything, but Rudy respectfully calls to question Immortal's quick acceptance of the Shapesmith when they don't know anything about him or his life at all. The Shapesmith takes the time to conjure the absolute most bullshit and blatant fabrication of where he came from and how he came to be. I would have secondhand embarrassment if they don't get suspicious after that. We then check back on Angstrom and see him in a totally different dimension, talking to a captured and weakened Invincible. He asks him how he was caught and what happened to Omni-Man in exchange for helping him. Invincible tells him how the humans used quantum bombs to take out Omni-Man even if it cost them half of Europe, and then they wore him down. Suddenly, a female variant of Cecil and Donald show up to question Angstrom, and Angstrom just teleports away, but not before telling them to remember to punish Invincible for what he has done. Nothing substantial or consequential happened in this episode, except the last scene, I guess. Don't get me wrong, it was still quite entertaining, and I like when shows have episodes where the characters breathe for a while and develop further. I just probably wanted a little bit more meat on the bone. The season is already condensed to 8 episodes, so unless all these slow build-up of the characters trying and failing to move on from the Omni-Man incident leads to something explosive and leaves all of our mouths open, it wouldn't be half worth it. But I got my hopes up quite a bit that this is the type of calm before shit squarely hits the fan in all directions. This brings us to the end of today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel to get more videos like this one. Your support helps us grow. And tell me, what do you think of this episode? How do you predict shit hits the fan with Invincible? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them. And if you're watching till now, thank you. I'll see you in another video soon.